So the interesting question is, why are we doing all this with the saddlebags? Well, let's talk about the way Harley Davidson used to make saddlebags, which was really horrible. Okay, so here, this is the right side bag, and this is really, shows right there. That's the problem. See that huge cutout in the bag? That was the cutout that was needed in order to fit the bag over the battery. So you lose all this space in the bag. Just a silly way of doing things. It was a bad idea from the start, kind of a hack. Here's the other big problem on these. See if I can do this one-handed. All right, these lids. Here's how the lids work. The whole thing comes off. There's a hook in the front and a catch, clasp in the back. And so there's that little thing in the front of the lid that goes, over that hook thing on the front, and got a little hook thing on the back for the clasp, and that's it. And look at how much space you lose. Look at that. That's just nuts. But, so, you lose whatever that is, a third of the right side bag, and you have these ridiculous lids that are prone to just flying off. Plenty of guys out there that have stories about how they're just going down the highway and they either notice it when it happens or they notice it when they stop, that the next thing you know, they got no lid. So that's what's driving all this. About there on the fitment, I got the side cover roughly trimmed in. I'm still going to go back in and clean up that edge. I think I want to actually bring it away from the bag a little bit. I don't want it to be close at all, and I don't want it to, as things sort of jiggle around when they're going down the road, I don't want any chance of them hitting. The lids work fine. You'll see here, I ended up having to just shim out this that plate with the passenger grab rail. That's actually where the seat mounts to that plate, and just raised it up a little bit, and that was enough. See here, get just perfect. Got perfect clearance on that. On the right side, it's actually a little snugger on the left. Get there, see, it's just super close, but good enough. Good enough. The other thing was I dropped the tour pack. In Harley lingo, I'd call it the trunk. But I dropped the trunk on, and it was just hitting right there. So I got some little rubber shims and shimmed it up a little bit. That's all it took. Although I think I'm going to redo that, and I'm not sure I need rubber there. I had this idea of getting something with a little vibration isolation, but I think that's a dumb idea. Probably do something, maybe just come up with some aluminum shims and shim it up. It only needs to come up something like, a quarter or 3/8 of an inch, and that's about it. These bags themselves, I'm still on the fence whether or not they're worth painting. I mean, the plastic itself seems fine. I have had the devil's own time with the hardware on these things, and at some point I'm gonna have to take this all apart and get ready for final assembly anyway. But and I will say this: the eBay seller that I'm working with has been cooperative so far. They say they're going to send replacement parts. You'll notice here that thing is just hanging loose. Well, it's supposed to be a tumbler lock that connects to. Well, when I was installing the lock, because remember, all this comes completely unassembled, and there's a billion little pieces to it. The lock just completely fell apart in my hand. That's by far the biggest problem, because that makes them basically unusable. These little hooks that screw on to the inside. They need to be, they're all drilled and tapped to receive the mounting screws that come through the outside of the bag. Well, out of a total of 16 holes, 15 of them were correctly drilled and tapped, one of them isn't. It's just little things like that over and over again. The hinge itself, see how I have all those washers behind those screws, and some of them still aren't even home. There's some bizarre fitment issues there, so all of this needs to get cleaned up. And a lot of it is I'm waiting for the seller said they're going to send some replacement parts. In particular, I need, 2 new locks, because I still want the locks to match. That's you see one of the screws missing? That's the one that's got the bad hole. This is actually a bad hinge. One of the screws, you can see one of them right there. I'll highlight that in the video. There's 4 screw holes in the hinge that are drilled and tapped to receive screws coming through from the inside of the bag, and out of the 4, one of them is no good, so they're sending a new hinge. So new locks, new hinge, new hook. We'll get all that put together. Hopefully this all comes together, and then when it's all said and done, I'll put up a separate video just kind of going through how to assemble these things, because that was a little bit of an adventure. But anyway, all things considered, project's coming along, and that's it. Thanks for watching.